Hey ho, dear ones. This is the last episode I am recording for 2025. And this will be released on the last Tuesday of the year. And I was talking to Higher Self, and I just channeled the message that wanted to come through that would be in highest service to you as you wrap up the year and look ahead to the new one. So whenever you hear this, and maybe you're hearing this at some point that's not in December, January timeframe, imagine that you're wrapping up one thing to start anew. And as you do that, the message I got from Higher Self is, and my brain is like, well, Higher Self, that's a bit trite. I need to get an exciting new hook to really engage my listeners, so they really want to lean in and hear what I have to say. And Higher Self said, well, sometimes it doesn't need to be such a sexy, unique hook, and it needs to be the thing that they've heard before, but they just need to hear it again. And they need to hear it deeper. So go ahead and take a deep belly breath right now. Sink into your body. Connect to your heart space. And I invite you to hear me with your whole body. Okay? Really hear this message from my higher self to you, which is, you are here to move mountains. You are here to make a massive impact on humanity, to lift up humanity, to lead the ascension process to higher consciousness on Earth, to vibrate at higher frequencies, hold higher frequencies, and to create at higher frequencies. So how do we do that in 2026? Well, there is truly one thing that will elevate you the most above all else in 2026. And that is, my friends, your spiritual gifts. Your spiritual gifts is the divine power bestowed to you by Source that you were given as you incarnated into this lifetime. And these are the gifts that you use to connect to and co-create with the spiritual realm. And they enable you to step into higher and higher layers and levels of your potential. The thing that's not going to elevate you in and of itself is AI. AI is going to absolutely explode more than it already has, for sure. And I believe AI can really help you in truly extraordinary and magical ways to amplify your business and your messaging and your strategy and your social media presence and all the things. But that's just a tool. That's just something that you can plug into, enable you to have more know-how, which is quite powerful. It will enable you to polish and sharpen your messages. It will enable you to figure out how to use certain platforms or how to leverage certain platforms, for sure. But by itself, AI creates sameness. You can imagine every single other person who uses AI has access to the exact same style of code, right? But it's really your spiritual gifts that create the differentiation, because everyone has access to AI, but no one has your channel. No one has your unique signature energetic frequency. That, my friends, is only you. And if you set your intention right now to focus on that, to say This is the year that I'm going to elevate my frequency. And in order to elevate my frequency, I have to invite in and amplify my spiritual gifts, which are the gifts you use to elevate. That's when things will start to shift. When you choose to shift your frequency, to shift your energy, to raise your baseline. So what that means is energy is always in motion, and we're always vibrating at low vibrational frequencies when we're in pain, and then high vibrational frequencies when we're in a client session, let's say, or listening to Soul Guide Radio, and then something happens, we get triggered in our outer reality. We're driving and someone cuts us off, and then we get triggered by anger, and that brings us back down. So it's never the goal to say, how can I be high vibe all the time? The goal is always considering, how can I raise my baseline? I call it my dominant energy frequency. So when you plot all the different ways you vibrate in a given day, week, or month, and you average it out, that's your baseline. That's your dominant energetic frequency. How do you raise that? How do you raise the baseline so you're vibrating higher and higher and higher over time? And when you do that, you access your spiritual gifts at higher levels. And when you do that, you walk up several stairs on your staircase to higher potential and higher evolution. And friends, when you focus on your frequency first, when you focus on inviting in your spiritual gifts to hold higher frequencies and spend more time in frequencies of joy, connection, creativity, elevation. Even if you have no goals, even if you decide, I'm not going to set a single goal in 2026 except for to raise my energetic frequency, to elevate my spiritual gifts and thus raise my frequency. If that was the only goal you set for 2026, your outer reality would absolutely take off if you indeed started to reach that goal. Because indeed, our outer reality is but a reflection of our inner world, our inner frequency. When we raise those vibrations, our outer world starts to reflect it. So if we feel abundance, our outer world starts to reflect abundance. And what flubs us up on this is we typically set specific goals. I intend to earn $100,000 in business revenue in 2026. And we start working towards those goals. And then we don't hit the initial markers that we had set for ourselves. And maybe in January and February, you only make a couple $1,000s per month. And then all of a sudden we start to look at what we're not making. We're not on track to hitting 6 figures. We don't have an indicator that says we're on track. And that makes us conclude that we're not going to hit the goal, or it will be difficult. And we go into lower frequencies of lack, of overworking, of second guessing. But what if you just said that I am going to elevate my frequency and be one of abundance in 2026? I am going to elevate my frequency to just be in abundance. Day in, day out. I'm going to notice the things that take me out of abundance. And I'm going to use my spiritual gift of healing to heal those things, because there's always going to be something that will take us out of abundance. Inviting in our spiritual gifts isn't about creating a world where there are no struggles. That doesn't exist if you're incarnated in human form. Inviting in your spiritual gifts is about responding in your highest possible power to the struggles that life brings you on your path. So yeah, you're going to get triggered in ways that will take you out of alignment to abundance. Then instead of wallowing in lack and fear and shame and guilt, can you notice the trigger right away? Invite in your spiritual gift of healing, feel the feels, breathe, release, and then go back to your alignment, go back to your frequency, go back to your abundance. And that's your mission for the year. And if you're successful in doing that, your outer reality will have to start reflecting more and more abundance back at you. And it's our job to start noticing all the ways abundance is reflected back, because it's more than just money. We can get that reflected back in terms of friendship and love and health and opportunities. So finding our frequency first has us inviting in our spiritual gifts. Our spiritual gift of intuition, so we can communicate and get the messages from the divine. Our spiritual gift of healing, so we can release the heavy energy blocks weighing us down. Our spiritual gift of manifestation, so we can tap into future potential timelines of higher alignment and potential. Our spiritual gift of teaching, so we can use our unique genius to co-create with the divine in service to others. And lastly, our spiritual gift of leadership, so we can be our true essence and lead and empower others through the power of your being. These are the key gifts we use when we're in highest alignment, when we're co-creating with the divine, when we're experiencing high energetic frequencies. So what I invite in for you as we close out one year and look to another is to start to reflect on all the ways that you forget to use your spiritual gifts. When you neglect to invite them in, when you get lost in your thinking, you get lost from the head up. When are those moments in time? To be honest, when I think about when I forget to invite in my spiritual gifts, it's with my daughter. When she's doing something that makes me really angry, I get cut right off and I go right to the head and right to reacting. It's very low vibe. It can be hurtful for her when I say the wrong thing, when I snap. I just become not that highest version of myself. In my business, because it's basically just me and, my team and my clients, and we're all really high vibe and in sync with one another, I remember to invite my spiritual gifts all the time. And so in my business, my question would be, well, how can I do it at even higher and higher levels? How can I surrender even deeper? But when it comes to parenting my 3 kids, how can I just start to invite in my spiritual gifts more and more and more? To respond more and react less, to notice when I'm angry, and instead of lashing out, taking a second to invite in my spiritual gift of healing, to release the anger before I respond. Now, we're human beings. And when we get mad and triggered, we are wired to stand up for ourselves, fight back, have a response. But as we evolve to higher consciousness, we're evolving away from reacting and more to responding. So that's taking a minute, not having the immediate reaction. The old way of doing things in the 3D world is very immediate. Now, now, now. Don't take a second. Have you ever been in conversation with someone outside of a spiritual friend? Let's say, I don't know, you're on a call with a bank and the bank is walking you through different credit cards you could choose if you were going to upgrade your current credit card with maybe higher fees, but you earn more points or whatever. And you just said to that person, okay, thank you for outlining this all to me. I mean, most of this is done online now, and certainly now AI is going to do all this. But like, imagine it back in the old days when you would actually call someone on the phone and say, hey, can you walk me through the options? I'm thinking of upgrading my credit card. And they walked you through and you said, thank you. Please give me 3 to 5 minutes, if you can, put me on hold, and I'm going to check with my higher self. I mean, I'm sure if the person is peddling credit cards, they'd be like, yeah, sure, take whatever you need. I'm trying to get a sale today. But it would probably feel a little weird for you to do. And the person on the other, the credit card person would probably be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. You do you. But that's really what we're going to, taking more time to make decisions. There are very few instances, if you look at it even through a human design lens, there are very few instances, no matter what your type is, or your authority, or your strategy, where we're meant to decide in the moment, react in the moment. Even if you're a manifester, there are times, most of the time, where we're asked to wait for the invitation, respond, wait to be invited to speak. Just take a moment, slow down. With the AI age upon us, it is very fast. It's very fast. And there's a piece of me that finds that extremely exciting. I have a defined head and ajna center. I like to think. I'm very futuristic. I like to create fast. If I'm ever in a coaching session with a coach and I'm the client, almost always the coach will say at the end of our time together, holy cow, we covered a lot of ground, because I actually like to go from one thing to another, to another, to another. I like to imagine that one coaching session is like running a marathon, not from a place of exhaustion, but from a place of let's just cover as much ground as we can. I find that exciting. And that's the piece of me that actually is excited about AI and likes to co-create with AI. You can get a lot done in a short amount of time. And for me, that's very exciting. However, we need to watch out that we're not going so fast and creating so much that we neglect to slow down. Because our spiritual gifts are never fast. There's always a stillness. It doesn't mean you need to meditate for an hour before you access it. No, you can access your gifts immediately, in an instant. However, it requires us to pause. It requires us to step back a little bit. It requires us to sink into the body, deepen our breath, notice what's happening, being aware, asking which spiritual gift wants to be invited in. And there is, maybe slow isn't the right word. I don't think it's the wrong word either, but maybe the right word is still. There's a stillness to it. And when we're going super, super fast, create, go, asking AI 15 questions a minute, read, go, create, that is not still. That is not bad. And there's a time where you can go into that hyper creativity, hyper productivity, and AI can facilitate that for you, but it's got to be countered with the stillness, with the ultimately, I'm working through an equation with AI, but ultimately the final choice when this offer gets launched or this final decision gets made or this social post gets published, it's ultimately led by the higher self. And when higher self is in the lead, we are embodied, we are in our heart space, we are still, and there's a fluidness to it, a flow. I am in it right now, and it's not fast. It's flow. So maybe that's it. It's not slow, it's flow. And this, dear ones, is what wants to explode in 2026. The flow and the co-creation and the amplification of your spiritual gifts that will elevate your frequency, your signature frequency. And that is the thing that you need to tap into if you want to start attracting a steady stream of soul clients in the year ahead. It's not AI alone. AI without your signature frequency really turns you into everyone else. Everyone else is using it. But when you are tapped into your signature frequency, inviting in your spiritual gifts, creating at higher levels, and then are reinforced and supported by AI and all that knowledge that AI holds, that's when you take the elevation to places you never dreamed possible. That's when you truly start to move mountains, not from some trite place, move mountains, but move mountains, truly. And if there's one thing I've learned from over 10,000 coaching and teaching hours, is that the person I attract, the soul client who's most resonant with me, are not newbies. You're not a beginner. You're an old soul. You have powerful spiritual gifts. You have a big soul mission. You are here to make a huge impact. You are only scratching the surface of your own spiritual potential. And the right mentor, like me, will help you step into that potential. And I would love to continue to be your mentor in the year ahead. If you're new to my world or you've been with me for a while, I would love to mentor you through the Soul Blueprint process, which is my signature certification course where I teach you everything that I mentioned in this podcast episode. I would love to invite you into the Soul Blueprint journey because it's so much more than just a course. It's a transmission, an activation, a healing, a channeling, a download. And it truly is something that will set you up for higher and higher timelines, for lifetimes to come, really, but certainly for the rest of this one. So I would love to book a January connection call with you to talk you through how it could look. So head over to the show notes and you'll find a link to book a call, and we can chat about whether Soul Blueprint is the right next step for you on your journey in 2026. And also, I can check in with you to see what is happening with your spiritual gifts, what is weighing them down at the moment, and how can we really activate them to their fullest potential. Because when you activate your spiritual gifts to their fullest potential, you elevate your frequency and you emit a more powerful signal that draws in not only your soul clients, but all the things that your heart has been longing for with ease. So, my invitation for you this week is to take some deep belly breaths, pivot your awareness down, connect to the higher self, and ask your higher self, which of my 5 spiritual gifts wants to lead me into 2026? So if it's intuition, that means you need some divine guidance. If it's healing, you're ready to release something. If it's manifestation, you're ready to tap into higher potential and higher timelines. If it's teaching, you're ready to co-create with the divine. And if it's leadership, you're ready to just simply be your true essence. I would love to know which spiritual gift you received. So DM me on Instagram or Facebook, or send me an email at allison@allisonscammell.com. I would love to hear from you. And if you've received something great from this podcast in the last year or years, and you'd love to give me some New Year's love, I would be so grateful to receive it. And of course, I'd read your words on the air. Head on over to wherever it is you listen, hit subscribe, leave a rating, leave a review, and I'll read your words on the air. And as we wrap up one year and move into another, may your soul guide the way.